Della was a 90-year-old parishioner in the small rural parish I served down in Burke County. She still lived in a house just off of Lost Corner Road, the same house that her parents, who were sharecroppers, had built 90 years before. She had raised her only daughter there, and she still had no indoor plumbing and still cooked by a wood burning stove. We shared a lot of common interests, common history, and we had struck up a great friendship over the months that I had gotten to know her. So one afternoon, I had planned to take Holy Eucharist to her house from the reserved sacrament. Well, I was distracted as I was leaving the church, and I did not realize until I drove into her driveway up to her house that I had left the communion kit in the sacristy. Well, my frustration with myself and all the offers I made to go back to the church and fetch communion were swept aside by her grin as she ushered me into the house and on to the kitchen, where I was totally embraced and uplifted by the aroma of what I consider to be one of our great mountain ambrosias, pork and turnip stew with cornbread fritters. She served me a large bowl of stew, gave me 2 fritters, and poured me a cup of hot coffee. We said our blessing and we dug in. Well, within a few minutes, I noticed that Della was staring at me, chuckling. And I asked her what was funny, and she said, "I just never thought I'd live to see the day when a preacher was breaking bread in my little kitchen." Well, I have to tell you, at that time, at that very moment, I had something of a mystical experience. I was transformed in that time, realizing, my God, we are indeed having Eucharist. We are indeed celebrating the great Thanksgiving. And I can say that it was one of the holiest and sweetest communions I have ever experienced. That day I knew the presence of the living Christ was there with us, within us. And I guess it was because I was on this trip, this journey, this trek that has been said to be the longest and the most meaningful and life-changing journeys we humans can ever make. And that is that 12-inch journey from our heads to our hearts. That journey from thinking and rationalizing about our matters of faith to experiencing them deep in our soul, in our hearts, having the experience of faith. I think that that was the same experience, the same journey, inward journey, that happened to Clopas and that nameless disciple on the road to Emmaus so long ago. They were trying to figure out what in the world had happened that previous week in Jerusalem, the triumph and the tragedy, the sorrow, the death, and then the rumors of the empty tomb and actual sightings of Jesus. They were so stuck in their heads overthinking their experience that they were blind to the very presence of Christ right smack in front of them. Then Jesus retold the story of God's work through history, and then in the very simple gesture of breaking bread, their eyes and their hearts were opened and transformed. Their minds and their hearts were made alive. The Seder's matzah, the bread of affliction, had been sanctified into the holy manna of new life, new hope, a new day. So whether we are on the road to Emmaus or Damascus, Lost Corner, Swannanoa, or even down Merriman Avenue, or whether we are on no road in particular to no place special, we are assured that the presence of the living Christ is with us and may just be revealed upon the confused and maybe broken heart that we have, that confused and maybe broken yet always hopeful altar deep within our hearts and souls. And to that we say, Alleluia, Christ is risen. The Lord is risen indeed. Alleluia.